Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Happy GDP day, everyone, and Unemployment Thursday. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, PMG. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Martinez. Good morning, Royal Palms. All right. Good morning, everybody in the background. Thank you for tuning in. So, besides buy everything AI, with other news, we have the GDP price index came out. Second estimate 1.3 revised higher from 1.1. Initial jobless claims uh, were lower than forecast. One of the core things, core PCE, coming in hotter than expected at 5%. That's probably the most important aspect, and continuing jobless claims coming in a little better than consensus, between consensus and forecast. So nothing really there. But this core PCE is hotter. And remember, we have the other PCE numbers tomorrow, actually the more important ones, tomorrow morning. So let's see how that does. Rate hike odds climbing. We are not in a bull market now. For my stuff, if you can, I mean, the official definition of a bull market is when we take out the previous high since we went to the bear market. If you want to think we're shifting into a bull market, that's fine. Hey Coco, hey Christo, good morning. Paul, good morning. Options 22. All right, what do we have next? We have Feds. We have the pending home sales. We have Fed Collins speaking at 9:30, and we have Kansas City Fed Composite and Manufacturing coming up. So the rest of the day is sort of quieter. Everything's going to be still focused on whether there's a debt ceiling deal. Supposedly it's getting closer. You see, it's everything buy everything AI. So the companies that aren't involved in AI are actually down. AMD up another 8.29. NVDA, oh, it's only up 29% now. Microsoft 3%, Google 3.5%, Tesla 2%. You see technology and comm services leading it. Everything else sort of eh. Fed Watch. This is in, let me just do a quick refresh one more time because this has been changing rapidly after the after this. All right, so now for June, we're about 42, 57, 57 for the pause. But if we look at the probabilities here, we are pause, hike, either a hike in July or August, then back in November, and December's almost getting to where it's back to pause mode from our current rates. So the market is starting to price out some cuts at least this year. Big shift there. Fear and greed still in greed mode. In terms of gamma, right now we're trading 41.64. Gamma flip is 41.81. And there's some pretty significant overhead put and call gamma, so keep that in mind. But 41.81, we shift back into positive gamma and we get the dampening effect. And we've had that key 4,200, which is a pretty strong wall. Best Buy was a beat on EPS, miss on revenue, but it is gapping up. Dollar Tree, huge. They gave guidance for the rest of the year, which was not good, and huge gap down. After the close, we have Costco and Autodesk. So that's where that sits right now. So here's the S&P. Here's the S&P. Hey, bro. What are your thoughts on symmetry along with harmonics? What do you mean with symmetry? Go a little more into that. I am keeping an eye on yesterday's high in the S&P. Why? Because if we break above it and then follow through with a close, it's a percent B buy. All right. So, and what would be the target on that? It would be the recent high area. But the intermediate target on that, especially for intraday, would be if we do take off intraday, would be 41.84, then 41.99. That 41.99 I will not ignore since it's virtually 4,200. So that 75% harmonic I will not ignore. but that's a little aggressive possible short-term buy signal, not necessarily long-term buy signal. Other than that, let's take a look at the little shorter time frame. In going into the open, I'm just going to bump up this level a bit. We have some key support coming in about 41.57. It's into a clear path move, and the first target just off the clear path breakdown zone is 41.89. So if we put back on the harmonics, so that lines up at the 37.5. So then my first target zone would be 41.85 to 41.89. If you're looking to see how I look at for the target zones. And if we pull back 41.57, you break below 41.57, the next key is 41.40. There's some pretty strong resistance put in, or support put in at 41.40 and then 41.23 area. For the NASDAQ, which we closed above the 62.5 yesterday, tiny pullback, and then I said watching for the 13,927, 13,979. This is now a potential double top. It might get taken off the table today, and it's not going to trigger today unless something disastrous happens. But 1430 and 1482 are the next targets above their major cluster, 14,126 to 14,140. That's where we sit to the upside at this point with the pullback levels. You're looking at about 13,930. Minor going in the open is about 13,960, then 13,930, and major support coming in at 13,876. So those are the levels for the NASDAQ. Hey, Christoph. Dow bouncing a little, but the Dow is actually still negative. Well, because you don't trade the Dow stocks because they don't have AI. So, any rally in the Dow, I'm watching the 4-hour rotation zone. Minor resistance coming in about 32.9. Major resistance coming in about 33 to 33.50. To the downside, the same levels are still in place, 32,642, 32,407. Russell, still on my support levels, watching for anything around 1767 resistance, 1781, and then taking this down a bit to roughly about 1792 to 1794 area. VIX is back dropping towards the 1835 area, so no fear right now in the market. DAX tested the key support and bouncing. So I'm watching for that to hold, especially with cycles getting to the bottom. If we did break below this 15,800 again, 15,660 is the next key support. But we have some overhead resistance now, right around 16,000 to 16,040. Notes, moving on down again towards the next major key area. Don't know if we'll hit that today, but tomorrow, 112.17 area is going to be very key. So on any rally now, your resistance is about 113.15. The yield reacting at that 62.5, so I'm going to be watching where this closes today in relation to 3.77. Cycles are at the top, so we could start getting some waning momentum and at least do a sideways to shallow correction. The 10-2s really breaking down. Remember, yesterday we closed below key support, so I'm going to be watching how far that drops. Dollar index very, very strong. Watching to see if we close above the 62.5 today, which would be about 103.55. So that would continue then possibly dollar strength, but it is very overbought, so we could see at least a pause or a pullback. Crude trailing stop stuff could be hit from my perspective if it does close below yesterday's low. and watching for a pullback with cycles at the top and coming out of overbought condition. What else? Gold, little bounce, but I'm going to be watching where it closes in relation to 1943. We had that 1 hour double from yesterday, obviously didn't trigger, and then the info came out at 7:30, and gold triggered a sell-off. I'm still, until we really complete silver coming down, basically coming within a couple cents of completing the pattern right at the 50. So we'll be watching to see if it garners some support in here. If not, the next target area is back to 2203. Copper coming down, hitting the next level, but there's no fantastic pattern in that yet. So yen continues to march higher with the dollar coming into a very key level up here. So we could start getting, with cycles at the top and overbought, a pausing area up here in the yen. They're going to watch the for the strength of the pullback. So right now, this was technically a confirmed double top, and so we shall have to see if that does trigger, but it's not triggered yet. Got to double check something here. No, it's actually not anymore. It's actually not. So it was a confirmed double top that was never triggered. So the key support coming in about 103.41 euro. The double bottoms off the table, the potential double bottom, and I'm going to be watching where we close below the 62.5, which is 107.33. Close below that, even on a bounce plays, then it'll be shifting to retesting these potential lows back from mid-March. Minor resistance coming in about 107.60. Pound has nothing, but it is breaking below support. Some of these we might get a little bounce with some dollar pullback at some point, but everything is running into resistance now. Bitcoin trying to stabilize at the lows from Friday, May 12th, but still no positive developments there. Tesla, we have the gap up. I'm going to be watching if it does stay positive for a return to at least 189.28 for to make a potential double. We'll see about that, but there's major resistance up here where it poked through yesterday's high, so anything above 188.70 to 190 is a key resistance zone. Example for stock moves 30 points up and then pulls back to support. It then makes 29 up and then retraces back to support. This also runs along with time symmetry. Yeah, it's close to 100% moves. I use it on a minor level. So nothing major. I mean, symmetry, yeah, there is some price and time symmetry, especially high to highs, high to low ratios. Yeah, she's good. Carolyn Borden's very good. Does GC qualify for a weekly double top? Then we'll get into the spiders. Does this qualify as a weekly double top? No. Nope. So you are into a weekly zone but you're back to the bottom of the weekly rotation zone and you're into a clear path move. But right now is very key support. If this breaks below, we start closing below 1938, and then it continues below 1913, it could be pretty interesting to return into the 1800s. So those are the targets I would be looking at. Spiders. Gap up. Remember, we had this gap fill 414.09, so that's going to be filled pre-market. Above there, we're looking at around 415.75, 417.08, and then if this rally continues, remember you have a gap fill up here to 418.78. Also, we put on our harmonics. You're going to be watching for at least intraday 415.31, and then on a possible short-term resistance, then 416.66 on especially a closing basis. Support coming in at 412.33, and then if the market did roll over, would be 411.08. The cues. Let me just put on the reverse harmonics here. $339.81, $340.95, and then your mate. Let me get the other harmonics on here to see where that sits. 342.27, 344.30, 345.87. So what would I be focusing on intraday? Since we are looking to open 339.42, so I'd focus on minor in the open 339.81, then 340.95, and if we really get a rip your face off day, 342.27 would be the first key targets I'd utilize today. Key support 338.67 if we pull back, and then roughly 337.49. So that's where that sits right now. All right. Where do I think NVIDIA's top is? I think it's going to be soon. But again, is there a topping pattern yet? It's AI. It's just by AI. It's not just NVIDIA at this point. It's by AI across the board. If you want the major, where could it go if it continues like just unabated? Now I'm expecting, see, we have 425. I mean, this is getting insane. The valuation of this is getting off the charts. They're trading over 40 times revenue. But can it keep going? Yeah. I'm expecting some pretty key resistance up here around 400 though. But will there be a topping pattern? Who knows? 800, you'd be trading so far out of bounds. They'd have to like literally be selling, put every other chip maker out of business for 800. All right. It could keep going. I don't know, Coco. You imagine he is. That's a long-term play. Bob's in a long-term play. Even on a pullback, remember. Gold is long-term. I think even with this silver pullback, silver can be a long-term thing too. But it's just I wouldn't be trying to buy it till there's now a pullback pattern. Yep, it's getting insane. But can it keep going insane? We have everything's just chasing AI now. Because if you look what's up, that was a huge guidance range they gave. I think it's, it's going to get interesting. Because they actually gave a huge guidance range. What are we up to now? See, because if you look what's getting bought, Google, NVIDIA, Broadcom, AMD, Micron, Microsoft, that's your AI basket. So it's chasing everything AI, and it's going to take it till the valuations get insane. But until you get a major topping pattern, it is what it is. Hey, Dave. Thanks for tuning in. Beat that AI horse until it's ready for the glue factory. I mean, investors are seeking some kind of momentum. AI is the momentum right now, and they'll chase it until it rolls over. All right, everyone. I got to jump into the open. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back after the close, and we'll see how everything sets up going into PCE Friday. Talk to everyone later. Bye for now.